for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it.
And almost forgot to open. So before the show started, we talked a little bit to jockey Aubrie Green about the question and answer. If you haven't had a chance to check that out on Racing Today, make sure you do that. And after reading it and going through the song to the open, I just couldn't help but say that that song was a fit to the Q&A almost perfectly. What do you think, Aubrie?
It didn't play for me, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't hear it? Well, I won't do it myself. You'll have to watch the show afterwards. But it just basically said that, you know, when you're going through life, you're not going to settle for anything less than your dreams. Essentially, was the moral of the story of the lyrics. So if you didn't hear it, I guess I have to go back and play it again.
You can sing it for me.
Yeah, I'm always talking about trying to go on to the X Factor or the American Idol and actually singing. It's a running joke on the show, so it's funny that you mentioned that. But I don't know the lyrics to that one. Otherwise, I would try. It's the first time I heard it a little bit earlier in the day as well. So how are things down in, how do they pronounce it down there? Louisiana. Louisiana. Is that right? For the rest of us, it's Louisiana. But how are things down there in Louisiana?
Really good. Really good. I'm happy to be back in Louisiana. I don't know, I'm sure some of you guys know I went to Delaware for the summer, and that's the first time I've really ventured out since I landed in Louisiana, and it was a good meet, but I'm happy to be back home and loving the swamp, loving the, other than today, we've had some pretty nice weather, and my meet's going really good. My business is picking back up where I left off, and everything seems good.
Yeah, one of the things we talked about during the week, Sean and I, on our Horse Center show, is that fairgrounds, they're having a debate now of shortening the meet or having less horses in the field. And one of the things Sean and I talked about, so New Orleans is not one of the biggest cities in the country, obviously a bigger city, but still you have basically 4 tracks in Louisiana. We're in Illinois with Chicago at the 3rd largest city in the United States, and we have 1 track. Do you feel like maybe they should have it so that the meets don't have overlapping dates, or what do you think the solution to that might be?
I think the biggest problem with the decline in horses here at the fairgrounds in particular, the biggest factor this year is the fact that we lost 2 barns with the hurricane that came through. So I think we're short like 200 horses from last year just because of not having those stalls available. The running meets at the same time, I don't think is the big issue here. The other big issue is going to be, I think that we've lost a lot of business to big tracks like Turfway and Oaklawn because their purses are so good right now. But there's a lot of talk about purse money increasing this year due to some legislation, and I'm not going to pretend like I know everything that's going on with that, but there's a lot of talk that the purses are going to be going up. I don't think they'll be going up as much as Oaklawn, but some increases are going to help draw some horses back into our spot here.
Yeah, certainly money has a way of influence. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
And to you, you'll see too. I don't know where you are on the screen because you couldn't hear the music, so I don't want to make any guesses. But Terry Hollywood Hay joins us. I think he's to your right on the screen. Terry, how are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm to her left, I think. How are you doing tonight, Aubrie?
Yeah, it's like Yosemite Sam. He went that way.
Yeah, I know. I'm really happy that you're a guest with us tonight. And I had a question about another jockey. I wanted to know, my wife and I met a woman jockey at Tillamook, Oregon, years ago. And, not long time ago, but quite a while. And we've gotten very close to her. And I just wonder if you know her, Nikita Black Abrams. Do you know her?
Yeah, Nikita Black.
Yes.
I rode with her. I didn't ride with her a lot, but when I very first started on my quarter horses and was just getting into the thoroughbreds, I rode with her a little bit. In fact, I think I rode with her the year that she was injured.
Oh, yes.
I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, I don't know her really well, but I do know her.
Yeah, she's really a good person, has a great attitude.
Yeah.
And yeah, she was injured, but she's continued on with a lot of other things in her life. But I did have a question between the quarter horses and the thoroughbreds. I imagine you like riding the thoroughbreds better than the quarter horses. Is that correct?
Yeah, I always wanted to ride thoroughbred race horses. The quarter horses were the easiest avenue in Idaho, Wyoming, that area where I started, and there's a lot more of them there. So when I went to Wyoming, they ran like 6 races of quarter horses, and then the last 2 would be the thoroughbred races, and that was if we were lucky. We sometimes only had 1 thoroughbred race. So it was a lot easier to start off with quarter horses over there.
Yeah.
But I loved riding them. They were fun, but I like the thought that you have to put into riding a thoroughbred race as opposed to just like get out and go as fast as you can and hope that you can get there,
Yeah. Hoping you get that horse out straight too, break
yes.
fast and straight.
And the ones to your side too. Right? If they don't come out straight and fast, you're in trouble with those quarter horses.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed, for sure. And sometimes Tom doesn't come out straight and fast because we never know what his nickname is going to be today. But today he's Beignets Tom, whatever that's about.
That's beignets.
Beignets. All right.
Yeah.
See, I'm so cultured.
Yeah, I get to date myself a little because I lived in New Orleans in the mid '80s. So my wife and I used to spend time at the Cafe du Monde, places like that.
We love Cafe du Monde.
So my question is, one, have you ever thought about riding Arabians up in Delaware since you spent a little time up there?
I got to ride one Arabian for Lynn Ashby when I was there. I think I ran second on him.
Well, that's not so bad. No complaints there. What kind of race do you consider the toughest for you to ride? Distance, grass.
That's a good question. I feel like I'm still really learning how to ride a really good grass race. This year I've really done well on the grass, but I still feel like there's more that I can do. I can put myself in better spots, but as far as distance versus short, I don't think that either one's harder than the other.
Clock in your head is good, right?
Most days. Yeah, it's improved significantly over the last couple of years. So, and in the Q&A, I talked about that. I put a drum click in my ear, and I don't do it every time I work horses, but every once in a while just to refresh my brain. And then I get that, that 1 second click, and it helps me a lot.
Well, you just need to drive harness races. Then you don't have that issue, because they have the clocks on the course, so you can.
That would be helpful, But I there was a track someone told me about. Maybe it's Parks or somewhere that they have that where it's posted how fast you're going, and I never rode there, but I thought, if I had that up there on the side where I could see it, I think I would be worrying too much about that clock.
You would look at the clock and not at the race, right?
Yeah, instead of riding my horse and how my horse feels and, is he doing it easy? Do I need to slow him down? I would be like, oh, wait, I went too slow. Oh, wait, I'm going too fast, So I don't think I would like that.
That's one of my pet peeves is when they have, and I don't want to get into the pet peeve argument. I don't mean called names, but Sean knows what I'm talking about there. But somebody got in a little bit of trouble with that. But in any case, on Twitter, the Twitter trolls came out hammering. But I can never understand why sometimes, and you're running a mile in the 16th, the conditions, and your lone speed will go out 5-6 lengths in front of everybody else and run a 21.5. And I'm just like, what are you doing? People are worried about all sorts of things that go on between jockeys, but let them go out in 21 and change when they should be going out in 23.5 or something like that. Nobody says a word, but when that first quarter's over, your horse is dead.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then finally tonight, we have the one that you've been corresponding with the most, Swiss Army Sean. He's our producer. He was our social media guy. He's the face of the show. He's just everything. How are you doing tonight, Sean?
Well, since we're talking about pet peeve, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to go pet peeves.
We don't want to go there.
Actually, I'm the opposite. I try to keep all the positivity, and like I say all the time, I got to meet Aubrie at Delaware, nice as can be. As I said, so many nice people in horse racing, and you can go right up to them, talk and everything, and so I appreciate that. And then you brought up Delaware, so there's no plans to go back to Delaware at all. And then also when Fairgrounds is not running, where will you be going later in the year?
So Delaware was still kind of an option up until a couple weeks ago. And I really feel like my business is starting to grow down here. So I think I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go to Evangeline and Louisiana Downs because they're running on opposite days now. They overlap only on one day. So I'm really going to focus on, growing my business down here so that my fairgrounds meets can get stronger and stronger.
I do think you definitely enhanced your business too, because you definitely turned heads in Delaware. You definitely got your name out. Another thing I'll bring up, I don't know how many people know, but you're dating another jockey, Angel Suarez. Did you guys meet, being jockeys, and what track, and how did that come about?
Yeah, so we met here at the fairgrounds last winter. He came down here last winter to ride for Mike Stidham. And unfortunately, he was injured the day after Christmas. He broke his femur. So that was pretty rough. Mm-hmm. And we had started talking a little bit prior to his injury. I was kind of, blowing him off a little bit, making him chase me a little bit. And after he got hurt, we had a few interactions with, I was bringing his checks home from the jocks room and stuff and taking him to him. And I got to meet his mom while she was here and, just talk to her. And then we kind of hit it off after I had a concussion in early February, and we went to physical therapy together. And we really just fell in love. So I followed him to Delaware.
That explains the Delaware trip. So
yeah.
Now it all, it always comes together at some point. Like the A-Team. I don't know if you guys remember that show. Tom's talking about dating himself. I'm dating myself. But you always love it when a good plan comes together. Right, Tom? We can't hear you because you're on mute. It's probably the smartest thing you've ever said, and we don't.
Probably a good thing.
So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the races this weekend at the fairgrounds on Saturday. You have one mount in race number 1. So tell us a little bit about the horse you're on. A little bit long morning line odds, kind of struggled a little bit the first time out on the track. So what are you going to do to bring that horse home today on Saturday, race number 1?
Well, I wish I knew more about the horse. I've never been on this horse. So all I have to go off of is what you guys have as well. So past performance, and the only past performance, Kevin Smith rode the horse here at the fairgrounds going 6 furlongs. It didn't show any speed, and it didn't really show any advancement. So, the best thing I can do is hope that I can get a good sharp break from the gate, which I'm pretty good at. Can't do it every time, but if the horse cooperates at all, I'll get a sharp break, have him in a striking position, and try to get the best finish that I can get out of this horse.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, looking at it, did rank out as the top the horse with the top pedigree. And I do some interesting things with numbers. Well, at least I think they're interesting. Maybe I'm the only one that does. But the early pace figures aren't all that far off the horses that get to the lead based upon all the other horses here. So I feel if you get a good break, you'll probably be pretty close to the front there as well. Any other horses in this field that you look at that you say that's the one to beat?
Yeah, actually, I was looking over this earlier today, and the one that I have circled is actually Angel's Mount. So I hope we don't have a repeat of what we had this evening where, I got a pretty good break, but he had more speed than me. I was following him. I really thought I was going to be able to make a run up the rail, and my horse just didn't go anywhere. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. All right. How about you guys? Let's start with you, Tom, Terry. What do you see going on in the first race? Ed, it's a maiden. I think it's a maiden claiming 58,000 for a purse of 58,000, 6 furlongs, Terry, on the main track. What do you see going on there?
Well, I did like the workouts on her horse, but I didn't pick it as part of my picks. I started with number 6, Pineapple Alley, finished third versus similar in the last race, and she has a high percentage winning trainer and had some good workouts. And then I liked the number 7 that she was talking about, Candy's Pride, ran second versus similar in the last race at Fairgrounds, has the highest last speed rating. Trainer wins 24% of the time in sprint races, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And this jockey is doing really well. Out of 8 mounts, he's had 2 wins, a second and a third. Then I like number 10, Conservative Values. Comes in from Parks Racing after finishing 2 times in a row, second. And then he's going to try the fairgrounds and switches to a high percentage winning trainer. Lasix is added, and the trainer-jockey combo in the last 14 days have won 50% of their mounts. And then I like number 11, Honeysuckle Delight. Ran third in the last race at the fairgrounds. High percentage trainer, high percentage jockey. And the jockey in the last 7 days has won 6 out of 21 races.
Sean, your turn, my man. What do you like?
So I like number 7, Candy's Pride. I really like how he improved in the second start. And then also going from the 5 furlongs to the 5.5, now to 6 furlongs. You also don't see a lot of speed in this race. Now, it's hard to tell with some of these debut horses and horses that run 1-2 starts. But I really think this horse gets the lead. I think they'll like the extra distance. So I like number 7. Second, I want number 11, Honeysuckle Delight. Has been bet in both of his starts, her starts. Went off at 3-1 in both starts. Looks like she might want a little bit more distance. And again, 5 furlongs and 5.5, now 6. This horse should be coming home strong late. Also, second straight race with Raylu Gutierrez, who's been on fire. And then I went with Terry's pick, number 6, Pineapple Alley. Finished third in both her starts, but broke slow each time. I don't like betting on horses like this because when they break slow, it seems to be a habit. But if she can break that, she's getting another half furlong as well and should be coming at the end. So I'll use her to finish out the trifecta.
Tom, I'm sure you have some interesting nuggets in this race because you like to look at some data that the rest of us probably don't look at. So what do you got in here that's going to give us a long shot?
Comment on Audrey's horse. The dam has produced a number of starters and a lot of winners. So it's not like that horse is the pedigree doesn't suggest that that horse is awful. So I think it needed a few starts. I think it may need another one before it really figures out what the heck's going on. But I had to go against it. I did take a first-time starter, though. I took number 9. Grace Leads Us Home. Been working at Gulfstream and then came over to the fairgrounds for Louis Rosselli. It's got one really good gate work at the fairgrounds. I like the fact that it's getting a 5-pound allowance using an apprentice. I always think that's a good idea, especially if you want to send the horse to the lead. The sires is congrats, and he's produced last year he produced 125 winners. He's now been pensioned by WinStar. He's the top producer from AP Indy on that line. The Dam was a winner in her life, and she's produced 2 winners too. They paid $65,000 for this horse at OBS. The only negative I could find really was Louis Rosselli, and first-time starters is not number 1 on the list, but who knows? Number 8, Drusilla is my next choice. First start went off at 51-1 and got interested late and finished 4th. So I'm thinking, why not improve? Based on the Dam side, the Dam was stakes placed. She had 5 starters, and she has 3 winners, and 1 is a stakes winner. The sire raced 28 times. He won 15 times, and almost won $1 million. Won $900,000. But this is his first crop, and I looked, and he's got only 3 runners, and Drusilla is the best winner so far. So not so good on that side. Number 7, Candy's Pride's kind of hard to pass on. Good race last time out. Went off at been going off at some decent odds. It won't this time. I like that work of 36-3. And the Dam's produced 5 runners, got 4 winners, and she won herself. And the sire's was a stakes winner and also has produced decent allowance winners. So it's an interesting and kind of strange Louisiana bred race.
Mm-hmm. So for me, looking at this race, 6 furlongs, you have 37% of the horses go wire to wire. It's a big number. The Candy's Pride missed by a nose last time out. I don't think it's going to miss this time because improved the fractions a big time in the last race. But when you look at those early pace figures, they're like woo away from everybody else. So it should get a pretty easy lead, not have to work that hard, and then have the legs to bring it home. Pineapple Alley did run some of the best fractions that any of these horses put together in the last race. And on top of those fractions, does have the best late pace numbers in the field. Ran a slightly better race in the last race than it did the prior race. Number 10, Conservative Values. This is a horse getting first-time Lasix, who has put up the fastest fractions out of any horse in the field. So I love that angle, speed and first-time Lasix. It does work out pretty well. Has a pretty good workout last time out, and it is making the first start for Ron Fau. I don't know. Fauché. There you go. 28% angle for Ron Fauché. And then finally, Honey Suckle Delight, strong jockey trainer combo, as Sean mentioned, with Ray Lou Gutierrez and Brett Calhoun. They went together at 36%, but the most important thing, Tom, is their ROI is $3.12. For every buck you bet, you get $3.12. If you just bet that tandem alone and didn't bet anything else, you'd be a profitable horse player, which is what we all want to be, right? And then we're going to move from the beginning of the card all the way to the end of the card for race number 13. It is the Louisiana Stakes, grade 3, $150,000, 1 1/16 miles on the main track. So it looks like they start in the middle of the front stretch and then they make 2 turns. When you look at a 1 1/16 race, Aubrie, when you're running in one of that length at the fairgrounds, what's the plan?
Well, it depends on, the horse that I'm on, if they've got speed or not, obviously. I do like to be forward placed. If I have any kind of speed, I like to be 1, 2, 3. Like when I won the Classic a couple years ago with Pound for Pound, I was sitting right off of the speed and in second and was able to go on by. It just depends on what kind of speed is in the race and if I've got speed. So.
Okay.
Don't want 21 and change fractions in that.
No, you don't want that. If I see my jockey go out in 21 and change, next time on the next show, I'll have a lot less hair because that happens to me a lot. So when you look at the Louisiana Stakes field, who do you think is the most likely winner out of here?
This is it's the whole race is not super tough. I think it's a 2-horse race. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be between Mandaloon and Midnight Bourbon. I like both of these horses. I've been following both of these horses for all year long. Mandaloon is one of my favorite horses. I like Midnight Bourbon just because his name is Midnight Bourbon and, we have Bourbon Street here. So, but I really like Mandaloon in this race because he's coming off a nice little layoff. He's going to be sharp. I think he's going to be fresh and he hasn't been running as much as Midnight Bourbon has over the last few months. So I do like him a little bit better.
So Mandaloon and then Midnight Bourbon. Sean, you going to put them in any different order?
I have the same 2, but I do have a different second place horse. I that's the only way you can make money in this race. But I like Mandaloon on top. I like that he'll be close, but off the potential fast pace. I saw maybe 3 horses going for the lead here, which is why I went against Midnight Bourbon. I'm getting Lasix for the first time, an angle Brad Cox at 35%. Last 2 races were at Monmouth without the whip, and we always see the horses improve. I don't know how much that means since this horse has been off for a while. So second, what I use Sprawl, number 4. Will contest for the early lead and loves the distance, winning 4 or 5. A 3-month layoff, but workouts have been really good. And then third, Midnight Bourbon, 1 or maybe the classiest horse in the field. I have 2 problems. One, there's a couple other speed horses in here. The other problem, maybe too many changes. Getting Lasix as well, and also getting blinkers for the first time. Not sure if I like that for this race or not.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else when you said you had 2 problems.
Well, if I want to go somewhere else, I got more than 2 problems.
All right, Tom, how about you? Who's going to give the 2 favorites the biggest problem?
Well, I did put Mandaloon on top. I like the works. Its worst race was at the Fairgrounds Louisiana Derby, and that was just not a great race. But everything else has been great. It still could be the Kentucky Derby winner. We'll see what happens with that. After the eventful Haskell race that it ran in, I think with the layoff and coming into this race, it's really the one to beat. I went with number 6 Warrant as my next choice. 7 starts. It's been in the money every single time and has 3 wins. It is only a grade 3 winner, but it's a late maturing horse because it didn't race as a 2-year-old. So that seems to fit very nicely in here. It is a maiden winner at the fairgrounds, so it's been over the track. And yeah, it's stepping up, but I think it's got a great chance in here. And I don't think they'd drop it in here against these other two if it didn't have an opportunity to win here. Number 1, Chess Chief is my final choice. He looked really good in his last race, beating some of the horses that are in this field. And, his fairgrounds record is outstanding. I mean, he has 10 starts, 5 wins, a second and 2/3. So definitely a horse for course. His best win is in a grade 2 here at fairgrounds. I'm not complaining about that at all. And I think really Ray Gutierrez has picked this up, and this horse on the second invitations has been asked to go to the Pegasus at Gulfstream. So I really, depending on how it runs here, we could see it in 2 weeks at the Pegasus.
For sure. And then Terry, it's your turn. Are you going to bet? Are you going to go away from the 2 main horses, or are you going to start there?
No, I'm going to start with number 2, Mandaloon. I don't think you can do anything but that. Won, of course, its last race at the Haskell, and although through disqualification, received the highest last race speed rating and has the highest percentage winning trainer of Brad Cox, and has a really good jockey in Florent Girl. And the trainer wins 24% of the time when he uses first-time Lasix in his entry. Then I like another horse, number 6, Warrant. Has finished in the money in all 7 of his career races, winning 3 of them. He's trained by a high percentage winning trainer again, which is Brad Cox. And he has a good workout on January 9th. Then I like number 3, Midnight Bourbon. He's finished in the money in the last 3 grade 1 races. Lasix and blinkers are being added this time, and the trainer wins 24% of the time with first-time Lasix. Should improve at the shorter distance, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then I like the same one Tom does, number 1, Chess Chief. Won his last race at the fairgrounds and has finished in the money 8 out of 10 races there, winning 5 of those races. He likes the distance, winning 25% of the races at today's distance, and he's jockey in the last 7 days. Has 21 mounts, been in the money 14 times, winning 6 of those, has a sharp workout on January 8th.
I think we all just jinxed Mandaloon because I think we put them all on top, right? So it's a unanimous. So if there's anybody you're going to play away from, it's got to be Mandaloon, because all 4 of us can't be right on the same horse. That just seems unlikely. But I like Mandaloon as well. The horse has the top pedigree, ran the top speed figure, which is the only horse in the field to put a number up above par for this level. Hard to believe this, but for me, it is hard to believe for Midnight Bourbon. That's the first time out of all the races it's been, it gets first-time Lasix. And I mean, this is just a tough knocking horse. There's no question about it. With Midnight Bourbon, you're going to get a solid effort from the time it leaves the gate all the way to the finish wire. And one of the things it's done is kind of hang, and that's kind of been its problem. And I wonder if the Lasix is going to be enough to get that horse to stop hanging and finally get that big victory over a highly ranked horse. I like Warrant as well. You got that jockey trainer combination of Brian Hernandez Jr. and Brad Cox. They hit at a high rate. And then Chess Chief, as you guys all mentioned, loves the track. I'm a big fan of horses for the courses, and I'm a big fan for cycles. And this horse is making its 3rd start off the bench and typically does run at or near its best in that 3rd race after a little bit of time off. And that brings us to the last race of the day on the card, and probably the one that's the most important with the most post-race significance. That's and I'm always great with these pronunciations. I got the wrong person on here. The LeCompte Stakes, is that right?
LeCompte.
Me and my Louisiana LeCompte, whatever Tom's name is.
You're also a numbers guy, and you said 4 of us picked Mandaloon, and it was definitely 5 for 5.
Well, I said the other 4, Sean. Is that the right number, or am I wrong on that too? Thank you.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, well, you never know.
Every now and then.
It's your fault because you were the last one to pick him. So
I know blind squirrel, broken clock theory. I know how well that goes. But this is a Kentucky Derby qualifying race, and has some pretty good horses in here. Aubrie, which one do you think is going to collect the 10 points for the Kentucky Derby?
This one was really tough for me looking at this race. I really like both the 5 and the 6. I feel like, I don't know, the 6 looks really good to me. I feel like he's got enough tactical speed to be close, but he's not going to be, on the lead or anything like that. But this horse has been able to close at all different fractions and at different distances, where some of these other horses, I've seen him close and win, but like this one that James Graham rode, Call Me Midnight, the 8 horse, he when he won here at the fairgrounds, they went in 23:46, 1:11. That's pretty quick. So some of that speed's going to back up. We're not going to see that tomorrow, I don't think, in this mile and a 16th race. So you're going to have some bullets to fire at the end of the race. And I really think that the 6 is going to be the one to do that. I like the 5 to run second. And then I really don't know, maybe the 3. I didn't do enough homework on this one, but always Joe Bravo. He's a patient rider. He's a smart rider. He knows this track inside and out. And they've got him morning line favorite. He also has tactical speed, but he can come from off of it. So I like the 3.
And there's no more American name than Joe Bravo. Right?
No.
You can't have a more American name than that, for sure. How about you, Tom? Yeah, you can't. That's the great. I mean, if I ever could change my name, I would change it to Joe Bravo. What about you, Tom? What do you like here?
I did take number 3 at Papa Cap. He had issues in his last race, still got up for second. And by the way, it was a Breeders' Cup race.
Mm-hmm. To maybe the best 2-year-old in the country. I think the best 2-year-old in the country.
Right up there. His works have been good. A 59 flat. I can't complain about that. He's been working steadily since December. He's run this distance twice, and he's finished second twice. I don't see quite the field that he's faced in the previous races in here. His speed numbers are very, very good. And really his worst race was in the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity, where he finished 4th. I'd like to have a horse that finishes 4th in all its races, especially like so. I mean, that's not bad. And so I think they've got it prepped for this race, and we'll just see where it goes from here. It's hard to get past number 5 Epicenter after its last race, where it won by 6.5 lengths in the Gun Runner. It just ran a nice race, and when they asked it to go, it went. The question will be for me is, the distance, and is it going to keep improving? If it does, it's certainly going to be the one to beat here. But on the other hand, if it does go out, it could get easily cooked on the lead with some of these horses that are in here. A bunch of maiden winners, and you just don't know what they're going to do. We're dealing with young horses, so you bet anything can happen, and that's why number 4 Trafalgar looked pretty interesting for me. I like the fact that it ran in an optional claimer last time out, won at the distance. It's a maiden winner from the 10 post at Churchill Downs, going a mile. So that's quite something for a young horse to be able to do, because I always think that mile, that distance, it's one turn, but coming from the outside and being wide and still being able to run a good race as always says something to me. I'm thinking more so with Trafalgar, this may be more of a prep race for something bigger. And certainly could be something bigger either here at Fairgrounds or maybe up at Oaklawn. And there's certainly more money to run for at Oaklawn, so they'd be certainly thinking very seriously about that. So I'm thinking for a share for here, and then looking for something bigger elsewhere.
Terry, what are you looking for?
I like number 6 Cyberknife. Won the last race at Fairgrounds, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And the trainer wins 40% of the time when putting blinkers back on the horse. And this horse had a really good workout on January 8th. And then I like number 4, Trafalgar. Has won 2 races in a row, and is going for a hat trick. And is 1 for 1 at the Fairgrounds and at today's distance. And then number 2, United Report, is perfect in his career in the sprints and stretches out today. in this race. But I think his running style will allow him to perform okay in this race. So he has a sharp workout also on January 14th. And then I like number 1, Super Dude. Has finished 5 out of 6 races in the money during his career. When in one of those races, he has a jockey that's doing really well in the last 7 days. 6 wins out of 21 starts.
Sean, how about you, my friend? How are you going to put these horses in terms of their Kentucky Derby points?
Well, either Aubrey stole my notes or I stole her notes because we had
I think it's the other way around, Sean.
Probably, yeah. We'll give the guest the benefit of the doubt.
You're the note stealer for certain.
I went number 6, Cyberknife. Same reason. I see a lot of speed in here. This horse has speed. Getting the blinkers added, which is angle. Brad Cox hits at 40%, but I think this horse can also sit off. It's technically crossed the wire first 2 out of the 3 races and just missed out on the other one. Was disqualified in that first race. And ran this distance last race and won and seemed to like the distance. So distance won't be a problem. Then I went Epicenter, won 2 in a row impressively. Last race came at this distance. Joel Rosario broke on board after breaking this horse's maiden 2 starts back. So it gets back on. And then I went with number 3, Papa Cap, battle tested for sure, off for 2.5 months, but it's been working out really well. Never raced at fairgrounds. And I just can't back a horse like this at a short price. I just think it's one of those horses not consistent winning.
Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to consistently win, Sean, when you're matching up against Corniche, right?
I know. But
that horse, I mean, it only won the Breeders' Cup, right? It's the only horse in the field, too, by the way, to top 100 on the speed figure. So I feel like if Papa Cap can do that again, nobody's going to touch him. And that's why I have him rated on the top. Plus, if you look at those workouts have been at the fairgrounds. So I don't have any question that he's going to like fairgrounds at all. January 2nd, ran a bullet. January the 8th, 9th fast at 105 on January the 15th. So he's got a good succession of workouts, ran the third fastest out of 123. That's a crowded field of horses that you're running against and still putting up there. And again, you got the great American name, Joe Bravo, on the top of that horse. So I absolutely am going with that horse on top. I do like Epicenter as the second pick, a little chalky, I know, but won the last 2 races. None of them were close. Cyberknife is my third pick. Ran the fastest early fractions that any horse in this field's been able to put on tape. But you guys said a lot of speed there. So I'd be questioned to see what kind of legs he has late. And then I have Unified Report to finish it out, the top 4 there. Undefeated, as you mentioned already, in 3 starts. And when you look at the ability to put the beginning of the race together and the end of the race together, Unified Report has the best early pace, mid pace, and late pace combination out of any of the horses in this field. And that's an angle that's worked out pretty well for me in terms of finding horses that win races. Aubrie, we do appreciate 100% for you joining us tonight. If folks want to follow you online, what's the best way to do that?
Twitter, Jockey Green. I think I'm Jockey Green.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll have all that posted in the recap of the show as well. It wasn't that painful, right? It was pretty easy. No crazy questions.
It was great. I wish that I was as good a handicapper as you guys, you know.
Well, we don't know that until the results come in.
Yeah.
We're just good at talking about stuff, right? And then whether or not it comes to pass is a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's true.
It does come to pass, on 4 and Fridays for Tom and I. And as I mentioned, we will be at Shea 10. So if you want to catch that, we won't be there, but our picks will be there.
Well, I mean, we're not going to be at Shea 10, no.
No,
but
it'd be nice to go there.
But we're going to get to see a horse by the name of Golden 60, who's now 20 starts and 19 wins. So we're going to go for another one.
Wow.
And so that'll be quite something to see if that horse can do that at that level.
Yeah, so Tom and I will be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern, right here at Racing Radar TV. You're going to have to make sure you come and check that out, because if you're doing international betting, Tom and I have really been doing pretty well at that the last couple of weeks for sure. Saturday, Terry and I will be back to cover some of the stakes races that we didn't cover today. That'll be at 11 o'clock. You want to make sure you check that out. Terry's been on fire this week, so hopefully he can carry that into the weekend. And if you haven't caught any of them yet, make sure you check out the Horse Racing Center show. And then, Sean, I think we probably hit that 800 mark. Did you give away that Mike Smith signed poster yet?
I did not. We're at 797.
Oh, 797. So 3 more people like us on, not like us, subscribe on YouTube. Just 3. Yep. subscribe on YouTube, and somebody will be the lucky winner of a Mike Smith signed Justify horse picture at Churchill Downs, right?
Correct. And then Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Horse Race Today. You brought up Horse Center next Monday. That we do that every Monday to Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Next Monday we have jockey Wesley Ho. Then Tuesday we have Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith himself, and then Wednesday Jonathan Stetton from Past the Wire.
So it's Mike Smith himself versus like what, the stand-in?
No, I was talking about the signed picture. We actually have Mike Smith Tuesday.
Yeah, we have a cutout of him. Right?
Yes, we're going to have a cutout of Mike Smith. That would be, we got to do that one show, Sean, is just get like some super famous person, be like, we got Tom Cruise, look. And then just put a good cutout there. And then have somebody sit behind him and answer questions. Anyway. All right, folks, we hope you enjoyed what you saw tonight. Aubrey, take a chance to go back and listen to the beginning and see if you agree that the song, I thought it was a good fit, but sometimes I can miss on these things.
I'm sure I will agree. It sounds like it was a good fit.
I think I hope you'll agree. But in any case, we do appreciate you coming tonight. We wish you nothing but success. We'll be following you in your career. And based upon your Q&A, something everybody deserves to have is a place they can call home. I'm thankful that you found a place that you can call home. Now make it a place where you win a lot of races.
We'll do it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a fantastic night. And we hope all of our picks, Terry, and that everybody's life ends up in the
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody.